there, Grateful Gang. This is Lauren Blanchard-Zaleski. Welcome to Gratefully Living the Chronic Life. It is December 2nd, 2021, believe it or not already. At the end of the year, I have a great guest tonight. If you've never watched before, welcome. I come to you each Thursday night at this time, and we usually do an hour on something relating to gratitude. In my own personal life, for the past 9 years, I have been through various struggles living with chronic pain and illness. I'm in recovery from alcoholism. And I found that gratitude is the single most important treatment that I have ever had in living a joyful, meaningful, and intentional life. So each week I bring on authors, experts, doctors, various guests who have something to share of importance with us to kind of keep in our tool belt to live our most joyful and intentional lives. So welcome if you are new. And for those of you coming back, welcome. If you're watching from inside my closed community, Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain, which anybody's welcome to join. But if you're watching this broadcast from inside there, make sure you log in. If you're going to make a comment, we do welcome audience participation. But if you're logging in from in the group and you don't grant them permission first, you come up on my screen just as Facebook user, so we won't be able to see your name or your face. So you need to just log in streamyard.com.facebook, and allegedly you're only supposed to have to do that once, but I don't know. I think it lies sometimes. So so unless you've been living under a rock, you know that I had a big week this week. My first book came out, 5-Minute Gratitude Journal for Teen Boys. I feel very humbled and grateful, among many other adjectives, that I was given the opportunity to write this book. The initial buzz, endorsements, and reviews have been wonderful, and I feel so blessed to have had this opportunity. So it's available on Amazon now. I think last I checked yesterday, it was like number 5 on the young adult new releases, which is kind of a thrill. So thanks for everybody for supporting. If you signed up to be a reviewer to review a free copy, you may not have gotten your copy yet. So just hold tight. They were all mailed out as of, I think, yesterday or the day before. So it is coming, but you can certainly let me know if you don't get it within the next couple of days. Before I bring Gaby, I didn't even say our guest name. I have Gaby Siegel coming on. We're going to have an episode about music, the healing powers of music, how gratitude comes into play. I met, I'll tell you guys how I met her when she comes on, because it's a cute story. But what we have coming up, a bunch of good things. Next week, I have Mary Beth Salmons coming on. She is an author of this wonderful book called Living Life as a Thank You. This book is a bunch of essays that she co-wrote with co-author Nina Lesowitz. Different essays on how gratitude has touched various people's lives through their struggles. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. The following Thursday, Dr. Kathy Zhang of the Purpose Filter podcast is going to be on. She is a physician in working with end-of-life patients, and she has a wonderful podcast. We're going to be talking about gratitude and our life's purpose. December 30th is going to be our last episode of the year. I'll be on by myself, and we're going to do kind of an end of year wrap up and walking into 2022, finding out what our word of the year is for 2022, which I mentioned to my team the other day. This year was the year of joy. We'll wait to see what next year is going to be. I know what it is. January 6th is one of my very favorite authors. Toni Bernhard is going to be back with us. She's written several books that have been pivotal to me in living with chronic pain and illness: How to Be Sick, How to Live Well with Chronic Pain and Illness. I love having Toni on. She hasn't been on. She was one of the first people on when I did this new version of the podcast. So I'm really excited that she's coming back. And then finally on January 13th, Gurma Bishaw of the Gratitude Initiative. He's in the UK. Powerful story. He's going to be on with me at a special time because it's from the UK at 4 p.m. I think that is it. So let me bring on our guest. We have Gaby Siegel here. Hey, Gaby.
Hello. Good evening.
Thank you so much for being here. I was telling Gaby when we first got on that we booked this a couple of months ago, I believe. I've been looking forward to it so much because music is such a big part of my life. And I don't think I know of anybody who's ever said to me, I don't like music. Like I just,
Absolutely.
No. So we have a mutual friend who was one of my former guests. Our art therapist and group member Lacey Mucklow was here a couple months ago, and we really hit it off. And I mentioned to her, just kind of out of the blue, I really want to do an episode on music. And I kind of figured she may know somebody. And she came back right away with her friend Gaby, who you record together, right?
That's correct. Yeah, so much fun. I met Lacey at McLean Bible Church. We played in the orchestra. I was one of the pianists there. And so that's how we met. And we just clicked. A lot of differences between us, but obviously I'm not from here. But
oh yes, we were going to ask that. So you hear Gaby talking. I want you guys to weigh in. Tell us where you think her accent is from. You don't get a prize or anything for this, but
no prize.
We'll see who can guess it first.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. So I interrupted you. So yes, you're not from the same place originally.
Yeah. So, but we just clicked. We're both artistic in different fields, but music brought us together. So that's sort of one of the things that we know, that music brings people together. And yeah, we just became friends. And then she had this idea about the relaxation album, and we started working together. And the first album is out, and now the second one, as you know, you can talk about it more if you'd like.
Yeah.
But she's a great friend and very talented. She does so many things. I just hats off to her. I respect her so much for everything that she does, and she makes a big difference.
Me too. I think that's why I hit it off with her. And hi, Lacey. I know you can't watch live tonight, but thank you. And once you and I met, we hit it off right away as well. And I know this hour is going to go very quickly. Before we go any further, we already have a winner. Pamela Creighton wins everything. South Africa is right. You're from South Africa.
That's correct.
Yes.
Good for you, Pamela.
Yes. She won some other random question not too long ago too. So let's talk before we get too much further, and we get into your bio and all of that. We do have a prize tonight. So Lacey and Gaby's brand new release comes out tomorrow. It is a new album of meditation type music and relaxation. It's beautiful, beautiful. In fact, I think I can play a little bit of it. But Lacey has kindly offered to give away a free download to anybody who would like one. No, that's wrong. To one person who would like one. So please put in hashtag
First, begin
gratitude.
by making yourself comfortable.
There's Lacey.
As you settle into a restful position, take a couple of deep breaths to become.
Okay, I'll play a little bit more in a minute. So that comes out tomorrow, but if you put in hashtag gratitude, you can win a free download. So Gaby, let's start. How did you get involved with music? Where are you from, other than South Africa? How did you get here and do what you do?
So I grew up in a musical family, and on both sides, my father's side, my mother's side, both sides, lots of musicians, singers, instrumentalists. And I started playing when I was 3. I just, I was, my feet couldn't reach the pedal at the bottom of the piano, but I have an older brother and sister, and they were taking piano lessons at the time. So I would listen to them practicing, and then my mom would say, when they leave and go and do homework or other things, then she would hear somebody play. And she thought, well, that's interesting that my sister is practicing so hard. And then it was actually me. So I started playing by ear, listening to it, because I was fascinated by the whole idea of sound and music. And I thought, well, I can figure that out. And it was a challenge to me, and just super exciting to sit at the piano and try to copy what I heard. And I still do it today. I
find that so amazing when people can do that. I feel like I've got a pretty musical ear, but I don't know that I could do that. I think it requires a very special brain that you must have, because I don't have it.
Well, that sounds very nice. I sure hope I have a special brain. But, knowledge obviously helps, but it's the more you understand music, the more you can do with it, in combination with that ability to hear and analyze music, and then to make your own version of it. So, but anyway, that is how I started. And I just always thought, well, I guess this is what I do. And it's just who I am. And I think one of the reasons I like it is because I feel it brings joy to others. It connects people. Music, it's almost like food. Everybody likes food, and I think everybody likes music. So it brings people together. And I think that's one of my purposes in life.
So you always knew. You
I
never
always knew.
and you knew you wanted to do it professionally in some capacity.
Yeah, interestingly enough, and that's maybe one of the reasons I clicked with Lacey also, is because psychology is also a very big part of my life. My mother was a social worker, psychologist, and she was like my mentor indirectly. So there's a lot of psychology in music, and that combination I really find intriguing, and it's something that you can reach other people with, because we're all humans, we're on this planet, and especially these days there are so many things that can divide us that we must find the things that can bring us all together, and of course things that make us feel grateful.
And that's why I wanted to do a music episode. And I remember when I spoke to Lacey about it, I'm like, I can't even believe I've done like 60 episodes and I haven't done a music episode. And music is a big part of my family's life. Both my kids and my husband are musical. I choose the songs they perform, but that's about as musical as I get. But I can't believe I never really thought of it before. And we talk in Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain. People are always posting like, this song really just uplifted me today. And, we'll delve more into this, but, depending on a song can bring me to a really dark period in my life. It can bring me to a really up period. I have a playlist on my phone I called just Happy, and it's all of my happy songs, and it really can just set the stage for my day.
Yeah, it is. And interesting point about music or a song or a memory can take you to a dark place. I think people would say, okay, well, you're talking about music, and how does this have to do with gratitude? Because when I hear this song or that song, it makes me sad, or it takes me back to a sad memory or sad time in my life. And my answer to that would be absolutely. And we all respect that. And I think we all have that in our lives. Without those sadness or the sad parts in our lives, we cannot compare and also distinguish between what do we have to be grateful for. If we always just had good things happening to us,
right?
Always, never a bad thing, never a disappointment, never a bad memory, how would we really be able to be grateful? How would we be able to appreciate the good times and the good things and the blessings in life? So it really gives us perspective. So we shouldn't try to force those memories out. Sometimes I think we want to do that. We just want to ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist.
Right. It hurts too much.
It's part of life.
It is. You're right.
The combination makes life real. It makes us be able to relate to other people, so that we can have empathy and sympathy and respect for each other, because we have differences, but those things bring us together. Even though it's unique situations or different situations, we can all relate.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I use this example all the time, but my darkest day, June 20th, 2013, was the worst day of my life, but it was also the best day of my life, because I can take myself right now, bring myself back to that day. And no matter how much pain I'm in or whatever's happening in my life, anything's better than that. So it's a real, it's a baseline for the rest of life for me. So anything from there is gravy. Everything's great, but I had to, go through that pain. And I, of course, still go through painful periods, as we all do. But you're right. If we all were at the status quo, we wouldn't be able to feel the good feels as much. It'd just be kind of no appreciation. And you're right. Music does that too.
Right. And also, if you think about it, it gives us dimension. It's like color differences and perspective in a painting. You look at the dark parts and you look at the light parts. Music brings that also, whether it's literally that what you listen to, but also in terms of emotion and what you're sad about, what may trigger something in you, whether that's sadness or happiness. But all those things are needed. I want to give sort of a musical example to explain it. And I've seen little pictures, on social media where it floats around, where it says, life is like the piano. It needs the black keys and the white keys. And the idea is that they consider the black keys to be the sad notes and the white keys to be the happy notes, which is not necessarily the case. I don't want to get too technical about it. But the point is that it all works together to make a good composition or a good song.
They all form a chord, don't they?
Right. It forms a chord, it forms an interval, it forms a song, it forms a musical, it forms an opera. So it really creates. And you need all of that. Otherwise, everything will be one-dimensional. Think about a painting yet again. There needs to be depth. There needs to be color differences, shades. All those things then work together to make one amazing piece of art. And music does that too. And how that relates to emotion is that it makes us realize maybe how far we've come. Look at your beautiful story. You would not be so grateful today if you didn't have your low point.
Right.
Just like all of us. We all have things that we can go back to and think, wow, look where I was, look how I felt, or let's remember how I felt, and look at me today.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the circle of life, really. And it keeps us grounded, and it keeps us, I think, in balance.
For sure.
For balance, you need everything.
You need the good, the high and the low. I know, and people that live with chronic pain and illness talk, about when they have a good day. Mm-hmm. And a good day doesn't necessarily mean they're out of pain. It just means it's not as bad as it was yesterday. So they can appreciate those days where the pain isn't as bad as a good day because, of the pain they've been through. But whether or not it's physical pain or emotional pain, we all go through that, and we can use, like you're right, the perspective that it all brings together.
Yeah,
beautiful.
It's that little quote that says, "Today I complained because I didn't have shoes.
Oh yeah,
I saw somebody without feet."
Yeah.
It sounds like a cliche, but it's really true, and we can really use that in all different areas of our lives about keeping perspective. And you need some of the negative things in life just to keep that balance and to stay grateful for the better times.
For sure.
Yeah.
So we want to hear from you guys. What does music bring to your life? How do certain songs make you feel? How do you use it in your healing? And we're going to talk to Gaby about that as well. So you always knew you wanted to do music. And then now what do you do professionally today?
Well, I'm a typical professional musician. I do a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
So I'm very blessed. I'm a professor at Patrick Henry College in Percival, Virginia. And so there I teach piano as well as piano accompaniment. Wonderful. I love being in an academic environment. It sort of energizes me. And to work one-on-one with the students, I just said to a student today, it's such a blessing to work with individuals, because it's not just about teaching music. I'm getting to know this person, and they help me to put things in perspective on a day-to-day basis. Because I may feel preoccupied with something, and then I work with them and I can see, well, he's distracted or she seems a little bit sad, and we talk about it. And I'm very honored that they share things with me also. And you realize this is a human being. It's not just about getting the stuff done. Here's a person who's actually not feeling well today because she's concerned about her grandmother, if she's going to be able to talk to her grandmother again, or any kind of a situation. So anyway, that is a blessing. I am also pianist at Capital Church in Vienna. I do studio work, do music arrangements. I will, for instance, go and lay down piano tracks if they need it for certain songs. Do some writing, and I have a private studio from home. So I play for special events, weddings, anniversaries, any kind of a special event that you want music for. So I'm a real combination of.
That's a typical musician, right? Yeah, and that's probably really fun for you to kind of mix the days up, and have music in your life in various capacities.
Right.
Absolutely. For anybody that joined late, we're giving away at the end of the episode. Gaby's a personal friend of Lacey Mucklow, who is a art therapist friend who was on the show with us a couple months ago, and they have a brand new album coming out tomorrow called Lavender Destinations, which is a meditation music, relaxation music, beautiful album. I've already pre-ordered my copy. It comes out tomorrow. So we're giving away one copy to anybody watching live. If you put in #gratitude, you can be entered to win that. So Gaby, you are Gaby, Lacey through you said your church, right? And so
we met.
I'm sorry, how did you team up together? You met through there, and then she found out you were a musician?
Right. I can't remember if she shared it on her episode, but she put a post on Facebook one day, and she said, okay, so she had this wild idea of doing a relaxation CD for her own patients, because they're familiar with her voice, and maybe that will help. What do you guys think? And I'm not kidding you. You can check with Lacey. I think it said posted 1 minute ago, when I literally, and I was the first one I think to respond. I said, I think that's awesome. Or something like that. And she immediately, like 2 minutes later, I got a little Facebook Messenger beep. She sent me a message, and I said, listen, if you need help, I would love to participate, or if I can help in any way. And that's the story. People responded very optimistically and very much in favor of it, and that's how the idea happened.
So the first album was Lavender Dreams, and this one's called Lavender Destinations. So I can't wait. I heard a little bit of the one coming out tomorrow. So how long does it take you guys to do this whole process?
Well, I'm not sure about Lacey. But the process is really, she starts with scripts. So she decides on certain tracks what the titles would be or the theme would be. And I don't want to say anything about Lavender Destinations, but I can, otherwise Lacey won't talk to me for a week. No, I'm kidding. But Lavender Dreams, for instance, there's a beach theme, and then there's in the forest. So it's like a little theme. And then she writes a script with guided imagery. So she tells a story, and you imagine, and you're immersed in that. And she sends me the track, the scripts. So my process is I just listen to it while I'm cooking or doing other things, and I will just listen to it, and then I get ideas in my head, and then I go to the piano and I just sort of decide what I want to do, what will complement her script. Because the idea, of course, with a relaxation CD is you don't want it to be too complicated or too busy or too distracting. So interesting enough, but yet not competing with the script. And the whole idea is obviously relaxation to encourage sleep. And
it's a very organic process, it sounds like.
It's so much fun. I always get so excited when she says, okay, she's ready, she's going to send it. And I love that whole process of creating something to start at a certain point, and then you end at another point. You're
like Elton John and Bernie Taupin in two different rooms, right? One's writing the lyrics, one's writing the music. She has a very soothing voice too.
Yeah.
And listening to her guiding through the music there, she's got a very soothing voice. Right. So let's see what comments we have here before we go on. I see some people weighing in here. Hello, Sarah. Hey, Lauren and Gaby.
Hello.
Shannon's here. Hello, Shannon. Thanks for being here. Pamela says, I think also like food, music triggers good memories. Absolutely.
Sure.
And music is food for the soul. Hello, Arlene from Canada. Mary Bendewald. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Arlene says, when I need energy, I play myself some ABBA.
Oh, yes. I second that. I'm an ABBA girl.
Here I go again.
Oh, yes.
Long and it helps motivate me to clean. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, Shannon, I didn't know you're a music educator. Being a music
Ah.
educator and music therapist, I am loving this. Music is therapy and helps me in all avenues of my life. So grateful for this music episode. Yay. I did not know that about you, Shannon. Let's see. When I need comfort, I listen to meditation music. When I'm nostalgic, music from my teen years, for sure. That's what I think about. We'll get to more comments a little bit later. Anything from the 80s. The 80s was my genre.
I was going to say, give me the 80s. I'm so happy when I hear that. It really, it's amazing really how it just triggers a certain time. It takes you back to a certain time in your life.
So much. So many of those songs can actually bring me to a particular moment. Like, a date with somebody or being with a particular friend and all that. So let's talk about that. Like how, when music makes us feel certain things, I don't know how technical you want to get or you have to get, but how does that work exactly? I mean, music can just bring us to a certain state of mind, which is a beautiful thing, and we can use that to our benefit, right? So
yeah, I think the great thing first of all about music is that you don't have to be a professional, and you don't have to understand the music theory and what does that chord mean or that note mean. It is really what I consider the universal language. Everybody can understand it. Everybody can speak it. And with understand, I don't mean the technical or the theoretical part. It's something that we relate to. And the other good thing is that you may not be your neighbor's favorite in terms of your choice of music if you play it too loudly, but it really is, you cannot be wrong. You can't be considered wrong. It is my choice, what I like to listen to. So I think because of that, there's a certain amount of freedom that it gives us to know this music makes me happy. It doesn't have to make you happy. It makes me happy. So what works for you, that is what matters at the end. And especially if we want to link it with gratitude, isn't that what it's about? It's not about what somebody else likes to listen. And there's so many different kinds of music on this planet.
Right.
So I think that is awesome. So it gives us that freedom to express ourselves. And I see that, for instance, at special events that I play. I think I mentioned it to you when we first chatted. The things that it would trigger in people. I would play maybe some classics, golden oldies, and like Moon River or Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And I would see a couple just get up, they're busy having their dinner, and they'll get up and they'll dance with each other. And that to me is so endearing because I feel I don't know them, but music made a connection to them.
Good point.
And obviously I hope it's good memories that I trigger in people. I'm sure I've played something that maybe, I was on a date with that person and that didn't work out so well. But again, that gives us perspective. It's part of life. And it makes us appreciate maybe how far we've come in, just our progress in life. But that to me is wonderful. One of the greatest things that can happen is when somebody walks up to me and would say, listen, I'm so glad that you played that song. That was our wedding song. And it will be a couple maybe in their 70s or 80s who would share that with me. So it is their song. It's nobody else. It is what's memorable to them and what is special to them. So music is just so awesome. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be afraid of being wrong. It is what works for you in your heart. And if that works for you, we have more potential to be grateful for things because it puts us in a good mental and emotional space.
It does. It does. And like I mentioned earlier, I have that happy playlist that I listen to when I'm getting ready in the morning. And, I'm a big believer in trying to do everything I can to try to help myself to have a good day. I make my bed every morning to kind of signal I'm done with the bed for the day. I'm ready to get started. And it's also my very first check mark on my list. And, feeling of a sense of accomplishment, as silly as it might be, it's only making your bed. But also with music, for me at least, these happy songs, and my playlist is all over the place, but they are my happy songs.
Mhm.
It really does help me. Who knows how the day's going to go after that, but it helps to get me started on the right foot. But music, like you said,
Yeah.
it's a very personal
It is.
thing. Yeah.
And people may say, okay, but what about for the times that you don't feel happy? Music is an expression. It's a way to express yourself. It's to allow yourself to feel what you feel. And I was very privileged to have had psychology as part of my studies, especially my master's, and also philosophy. Now, psychology and philosophy, you might think that it's very it's different in a certain way, but it gave me, especially philosophy, that freedom to think a little bit more not in a technical way, but in a more free way mentally. And I think what happens with a sad connection that you may have, it allows you cannot get to a point of gratitude if you keep pushing away getting an emotion out, like an emotion of sadness, even anger. It happens to us. People get angry. You maybe bottle something up, and we know this. People, they listen to music, regardless, whatever emotion they feel, and even for the sad times, listen to something. If that makes you cry for an hour, cry.
Maybe that's what you need, right? Yeah.
You need to get through that in order to get to a better place. So whatever works for you musically, it works for you, and that is fine. And that is why music is such a divine creation, actually.
It really is, isn't it?
It really connects us to who you are, and nobody can criticize that. It's what works for you.
Yeah. You can be out somewhere. I can be out somewhere or with friends or whatever, and all of a sudden a song comes on and everything stops. Like, do you hear Duran Duran is on right now?
Oh, yes.
Hungry Like the Wolf is playing, and the world stops, so we can scream that song, sing that song, whatever. Absolutely. It really is like the universal language, the great connector. And gosh, if you find somebody who likes like a maybe not so popular song that you like, that's drawn to that person. Like I didn't know anybody else knew that song, and you love them too. You see fan groups all the time for various unknown bands on Facebook and things like that. And my son is really into progressive rock bands that most people haven't heard of, and he loves it. He's a musician too, and he just loves it. So when he meets people that like his type of music, he finds a lot in common with them.
Yeah, and when you think about it, it's the differences, the little differences that make life interesting. If we all had to have exactly the same taste in everything, just imagine how boring life would have been. And sure, we gravitate towards people with the same interests maybe, but I actually, in fact, I love meeting people who have differences from me. It just gives me perspective. It's natural, it's normal, it's to be expected. And again, that sort of makes me just grateful, because I think how awesome creation is, that we have so many varieties in terms of people, and then of course music and all the different cultures and nationalities, and that makes life. Otherwise it would be boring. So we need to celebrate those differences, and music is just one of the few examples of how different things can be, but it can actually work all for the good and can bring people together.
I remember when we were planning my wedding 30 years ago, the big decision was what songs to ask the band to play, or people with their DJs or whatever, because it's a big deal. You want people to be up and having fun. So choosing the playlist or the songs, or, how to guide the band, I never really thought about that until now, but that's a big thing when you're having a gathering of people. You want kind of a good mix, right? And stuff that is going to make people happy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Mary says, 1970, Talking Mains, the main drag with the music cranked up, good times. Don't know that band, but they sound interesting. And I was actually just going to say, like, I love when somebody turns me on to somebody that I've never heard of before. I'm going to have to look at the Talking Mains, Mary.
Yes.
Shannon, our music educator, says, I have a playlist entitled I Am Enough. Oh, I love that.
Oh, that's great.
Listen to it for inspiration and hope. We have a question from Pamela. Gabby, do you have any knowledge, insights on working with hertz for healing?
Hertz. I'm not familiar with that.
I'm not either. Hertz.
I apologize.
Is it like megahertz?
I'm not
sure. Pamela, if you can specify, we'll try to get
Yeah.
The answer to that. I feel like I'm hearing like in something in the back of my mind, like, is that a decibel or level? I'm not sure. But Pamela, yeah, let us know what you're asking. I love the vibrations of music. Good point, Robin.
Mhm.
Good point. Sometimes you need that pounding beat, right?
Yeah.
Other times you need that light piano, like your album with Lacey. We have a first timer. This is my first live AOG. Loving that it's on music. Told you, I knew people were going to love the music episode. I'm so excited that Gabby's here. Music fills 99% of my emotions. Yeah, that's not a surprise.
Yeah.
It really is such an amazing thing. So how do you, so you have a background in philosophy and psychology and music. And so when you notice that a student of yours is going through a rough time or whatever, do you guide them in any kind of way? I know you're not exactly, a therapist or anything like that, but I've heard you speak about your not patients, I was going to call them patients, your clients before.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you do offer some kind of musical advice.
I do some music therapy. I've worked with ADHD children before. And with ADHD, and I'm sure other children with learning disorders or even just emotional situations, music is wonderful, and your approach is different, obviously, in your sessions with them. It's not really that you're goal oriented. It's really about the therapeutic element. So I've, for instance, one girl that I remember now, she was about 9 at the time, and she was very, very ADHD, and she struggled in school, couldn't focus. So we use music really as an expression more so than you got to learn how to play piano. It was more, let's see what happens. How does that make you feel? And I actually let emotions come part of it,
I love that.
become part of that. And so I would say, for instance, to her, when you think about you being in a park and you're seeing beautiful flowers, can you demonstrate for me on the piano how that makes you feel? What kind of a sound would you make? And she would make sort of a quiet sound on the piano. And then let's say you're crossing a busy street and your mom is holding your hand and you have to get over the street. How would you put that on the piano? How does that make you feel? And she would sort of slam on the keys. So it's very interesting how those things, just to be able to express herself. She didn't really know much at the time about what note, what was that letter name, what was that note, and everything theoretical. She didn't know. But she found it was a way to express herself. Kids are so bombarded, I would say, with you got to learn, and it's a quiz and it's a test, and you got to do this and you got to perform and achieve, and your GPA must be this, that I don't think there's enough time dedicated to just expression and the freedom to express yourself without judgment. And again,
that's a good point.
Without judgment, because that makes a big difference.
Yes.
We will express ourselves more, but I think we fear what other people would say and what they think. And interesting enough, just as a little side note, I once heard or read somewhere that we worry so much about what other people think about us. We would be shocked to know how infrequently they actually think about us. They're concerned about their own issues. So instead of that, use music as a way to express yourself without judgment, because you have the right to listen to what you want, how it makes you feel. It's almost like watching a movie. Some people say, oh my goodness, I cried my eyes out when I watched that movie. And other would say, really? I thought it was hilarious. We have to, we're different.
Affects
And
everybody differently.
yeah, and music is just a good example of how to express that and actually get rid of certain emotions so that you can get to a better place.
And you see a lot of teens when they're becoming teenagers and all of that. A lot of them tend to retreat into music. As they're going through the transition from childhood to adult, and they'll put on the headphones and they retreat. I feel like you're the expert, but I feel like they must get a lot of their own confusions and emotions out through music. Is that fact? Yeah,
definitely. And especially for teenagers, by the way, your book is on the way. It is a Christmas gift for my own son, who's now 16. So I'm very excited.
Let me know how he likes it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very happy for you.
Thank you.
It's, I think, especially teenagers, as you would know, they want to be accepted. They want to be part of the crowd. They don't want to be the odd one out. So music is one of the.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah.
And so they relate with each other through music, especially this day and age. And I see it with my son. I'm very blessed. He's very good with communicating because it's just something that I always wanted to work, that he can look people in the eye and, just look at them and be able to have a decent conversation. But a lot of teenagers struggle with communication.
Yes.
And music is, again, a universal language. And I'm saying language because it's not real verbal words, really. It's that sound, it's that power of the chords and the harmonies and the different dynamics, loud and soft, that creates emotion, and that creates something that teenagers connect with, that they often struggle to do with just verbally.
That was a mind-blowing fact right there. I never thought about that. That is so true.
Yeah. There's another thing I want to mention that will maybe it is definitely a different perspective. We focus, when we think about music, we think of the sound, right? The noise, loud or soft. When I teach beginners, you teach them the notes, but there's also rests as part of the music. And very often, especially the little guys, the 6 or 7 year olds, they get so excited. Oh, I can play those notes. And they just skip the rests in the music. They're just like, oh, there's the notes. And I'll say, no.
Right, now rests are a break in music, right?
A break in the music, yeah. And a pause, or just it's quiet for a moment. I say, no. You got it. Those rests are just as important. And when you think about it, music teaches us so much. Because it's life is like that. There must be a moment of rest. Imagine you talk to somebody and that person, we know people who talk a lot and who seemingly they just don't stop talking. They're just like babbling, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But eventually at some point they at least have to catch a breath.
you hope, sometimes.
Hopefully, right? But seriously, music teaches us so much about life. And that is that to appreciate the sound, it must be punctuated by rests and pauses.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing.
It really
You're so
is.
Right.
We call it in music a phrase. A phrase is what my own term for it is a musical thought or a musical sentence. When we speak, there's a full stop. In grammar, we put a stop or a comma. Music has that as well. And then we have the rests, where it means the right hand stops playing or the left hand stops playing or the vocalist stops singing. Those things all together create the song and the interpretation. If we take away all those pauses, it will not be the same song. We can take a very popular song, anything, ABBA, Duran Duran, John Legend, Billy Joel, Elton John. It would be interesting to just take a song that everybody knows and take all the pauses and all the rests away. It would not be the same song. It would not be the same message that is communicated.
Yes.
So I always think about it this way. It is really how we should live our life. We cannot appreciate life if there's constant noise.
Right.
That's why we say we got to take a vacation. You got to have some downtime. And where it relates to gratitude is, I don't think that you can really quiet your mind to be grateful for things if you're constantly filled with noise.
You're right.
So in
You're right.
music, it's important. It would simply not be the same song, that whatever your favorite song is, if you
Beautiful.
don't have moments of pause. And if you allow yourself in life to pause, then you quiet down your mind, and that puts things in perspective. That takes away anxiety.
Yes.
It takes away the sense of competition. Hello, social media. It's like bombardment of noise. What you see, what you read. You got to take a pause. You got to take a break. You got to have a rest in between. And that is what gives you the opportunity. You must create the environment for you to be grateful. Because if you're just filled with noise, it's not going to happen.
Oh, that's beautiful. So, so true. And you guys out there from AOG, we can kind of look at it from, we call our rest days, we've renamed them as reboot days.
Yeah.
And we had a contest years ago, like people would feel guilty saying they were taking a rest day. So we had a contest and reboot day one. So we say we're giving reboot days, but we can think of that as a whole symphony, and that
it really is.
The reboot days are the rests that break up all the noise of the pain and the busyness, and it's mindful, isn't it? It's bringing ourselves back to the moment,
mindfulness,
being able to appreciate and be grateful in the moment.
And, I am personally, and I really speak out of my own experience here, I'm a planner. I want to get things done. I'm so annoying, really. I just sometimes wish I can just relax a little more about it, but I don't want to disappoint anybody, and I don't want to be late. So because of that, you and a lot of your viewers probably can relate to, you're here right now, but you're already thinking about, oh, this afternoon I got to do that, and oh, I must remember tomorrow I got to do that. So we're always moving ahead. And something that works for me is to say, you got to be present now. You deserve that. Whoever you're interacting with deserves that also. And very often it involves just shutting out the other noise, and noise can be literally noise, and just busyness. I think we're just always busy. And if you think about music, we focus on all the sound that we hear, but I hope your viewers can remember, maybe in the future, if that sticks, I'll be very grateful for that, to remember it's also the pauses that we can, that puts things in perspective.
Brilliant. And it's so true. Where, constant noise is just going to lead to mess. In my life, it did lead to a mess. I have to take time to smell the roses, to regroup myself and practice that mindfulness in order to be grateful as well, and enjoy. If we're constantly looking off into the future, not appreciating the moment that 10 minutes ago I was searching for,
right.
Appreciating the now. I'm sitting here talking to Gaby Siegel, who's a good friend of another guest I had on. I'm meeting all these amazingly wonderful people over these past several years, and enjoying every minute of it, because I take a piece of all of you with me for my own life, and I hope and know that you guys do as well. And this is, you're leaving us with so many great thoughts here. Let's see what other comments. Shannon says, like binaural beats or different frequencies for increased relaxation. Maybe that's the first.
Definitely. It's also, I would say, a personal thing. I'm not a scientist, so I'm sure there's a scientist or a music technology expert would be able to say more about it. But definitely, for instance, your heartbeat. This is actually a true story. When we recorded the first album with Lacey, the sound engineer, it was quite funny. The music was so soothing that he later he seemed like he was sitting there and was just starting to blink slower and slower, the sound engineer. It was very funny to watch. And Lacey actually said, oh my goodness, my heart rate is at sleep level. And she took a picture of it. So that is what music, it can make a difference. Faster music, lower frequencies can be probably more likely more soothing. Higher pitched can cause more adrenaline, more anxiety, depending on the situation. So yes, those there's a lot to say. They do this in movies as well, in soundtracks. Obviously, think about watching a movie and you take all the music away. A James Bond movie,
Different movie.
I don't think it's going to be that exciting.
Yeah.
It's about the soundtrack.
Yeah.
When you watch, I'm not a horror film person, but let's say you watch horror. What do they have often? The screechy high violin sound, but it just goes on like that. So it creates anxiety and like anticipation of something bad happening. So all those things can really, music is such a communicator, because it almost tells us how to feel. And, you know, for instance, in my teaching, especially again with the little kids, what is a happy sound? How does this make you feel? Make a sound on the piano that as if you're running. What kind of a sound would you make? You know, so yes, that could be like a whole other episode, just about how music, because it all comes down to what emotion it creates within you.
Do you have any recommendations for maybe what you do yourself if you're going through an anxious time or maybe a stressful period, maybe a lot of pain of some kind? Do you have any recommendations over music-wise, what we can do to help ourselves with that? Lavender Destinations would be one thing. You and your new album, relaxation music. But what else would you recommend?
Well, again, it's a very personal thing. It depends what makes you, what calms you down.
I guess it would be.
And interestingly enough, for me personally, if I really want to shut down my mind, I have no music on.
Yeah. You as a musician, I would think you'd have to do that.
Because my mind keeps analyzing. When I hear a song, for me to go to bed with a CD on, I listen that CD from beginning to end, and then I'm still awake, wide awake. So it depends on the person. Some people like, anything, and anything goes. It's such a personal thing that it takes us back to the point, you can't be judged, you can't be wrong, and you should have that sense of freedom that you can just, whatever works for you,
good word for it.
Situation. And for me personally, I like quiet. I just shut everything down, and that gives me the opportunity just to put things in perspective and to get my mind focused on whatever I need to accomplish, and that works for me.
Yeah, I would assume as a musician, your mind would be going overdrive. Even I'm not a musician, but I can't listen to music at night either. I can have the TV on, I can sleep to a TV, but I cannot fall asleep to music. Isn't that funny?
Yeah. Same.
So I want to put this up again. So their album is due out tomorrow. And I know it's a bit of a lengthy address here, but laceymucklow.bandcamp.com. And if you go on there, you should be able to navigate through there. But it's album and then Lavender Destinations. Let me pull it up again and just play a little bit more for you guys so you can hear what you...
I'm further relaxed.
The relaxation.
Allow your mind to wander and let all of your thoughts gently glide by.
She really has a lovely voice.
Eventually emptying your mind as you focus only on how relaxed you feel. Your breathing is now slow and steady as you prepare for this visualization.
That's just a little taste. Again, we have another couple minutes, but if you would, just barely a couple minutes, but
I cannot believe the hour's over.
I told you it was going to go fast. I knew it would. If you want to enter to win a free download, it's digital music, so there's no CD, but if you want to enter, just put in #gratitude and you will automatically be answer, but that I can't wait to get my copy when it comes out tomorrow. It just sounds, for me, although I can't sleep to any music, I'm really big into mindfulness and meditation. I do it each day, and it makes such a huge difference in my life, in my mood, in my pain, in just about everything. You know, if I slow myself down, and like you were talking about, you know, staying in the moment. And I need help. I don't do well. I could do it by myself, but I do much better with guidance, like what Lacey's doing there.
Yeah, and something that works for me, and maybe it helps somebody out there, is about pacing yourself as a planner, and you think about too many things, and rather just music can help you to focus on one thing and one emotion even. Sometimes we just feel flustered and there's too many things that require our attention. And I think music can definitely just shut you down a little bit and just keep you focused.
I'm glad you said that, because I thought of it earlier and I was going to say the same thing. It can be very mindful music, can it? Because if you're fully immersed in a Duran Duran song, for me, or whatever your Duran Duran is, you're not really thinking about much else. You're fully in with Simon Le Bon on the boat in Rio.
Yeah. For me, it's Bohemian Rhapsody, Queen.
Oh, of course. Anthem. That is the anthem. Pamela, regarding the hertz, I may have the wrong term or spelling. I believe hertz is the frequency of a tone or tones used in a piece and the effect it can have. I have a feeling the binaural beats is similar.
Yeah.
Which is, so there it is. It may not be used outside of composition if binaural beats. I was curious if it was used in general composition. So when you compose a piece, do you think about things like that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
For instance, relaxation music, it's about a lot of repetition, because repetition becomes like meditation. It's a lulling, sort of soothing kind of a thing. There's a reason when we have babies, we sort of do that. It's a
and we hum sometimes,
and it's a repeated action and movement. It makes it predictable, and that predictability gives you a sense of calm. So if in relaxation music, for instance, if you keep changing, there's something else, there's a different instrument, if you make it too busy, it's going to be distracting. So if you really want to quiet down, then if that is the purpose of listening to music, then it's soothing, a certain pitch that you find soothing, and it's a personal thing. I know I say that often, but it really is such a personal thing.
Yeah.
Because it creates different emotions. A lower voice or a pitch is soothing. A higher pitch can cause a little bit more excitement or concern or whatever the emotion you attach to it. But for sure, pitch and all of that, that's huge difference. Makes a huge difference.
No. Another Queen fan. Woo! Freddie Mercury forever. Robin. There is. Oh my gosh, that dovetails with my meditation goals perfectly. Yay.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Gaby, for beating me on that question and satisfying my curiosity. Also. So we are, let's do the drawing. So hopefully you guys that wanted to win Lavender Destinations, which is out tomorrow, you've put your hashtag gratitude in. Let me pull this up here, as long as I can figure out how to do it, which we never really know from week to week, but we'll try. Let's see. Here we go. This should do it. Okay. Good luck, everybody. Isn't this thing so cool?
That is awesome.
Yeah. Who's going to be the big winner? Mary Bendewold won. Lacey's going to send me the link tomorrow, I think, Mary. But congratulations. You're going to love it. For those of you that did not win, again, you can buy this. I bought mine today, so you can buy it today. It's out tomorrow. LaceyMuckloud.bandcamp.com. Hashtag album, hashtag Lavender Destinations. I will put this in the video comments after the show, so you can take a look at it. And she has your previous release is Lavender Dreams, which is equally as beautiful. So, Gaby, I can't believe the hour's up already. I waited so long to talk to you, and now, boom, poof, it's gone.
It's just gone.
so much for being here. I hope you'll come back someday and we can talk,
Absolutely.
because I have a feeling we could talk for another 6 hours about music. And
definitely. Thank you for everybody listening, and I hope there was something useful in there for somebody. And congratulations again, Lauren, on your book. And
thank you.
Wishing you lots of success, and thank you for everything you do. I think I speak on behalf of everybody watching and people not watching who have watched before. You're awesome. You're making a difference.
Thank you. That
We're
means a lot.
grateful for you.
Thank you very much. If you want to get in touch with Gaby, this is her email address, gerbrie@yahoo.com. And you can find her on Facebook at Gaby K. Siegel. And again, I will put this in the video notes. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. We'll see you next Thursday. Gaby, thank you again. Lacey, thank you for introducing us. It was a real pleasure. And I will see you guys next week. Peace and love, gang. Bye.
Bye.